Let's get it.
Nothing happened.
I want you to know I saw that, OP.
Dua Lipa Dodge!
That was his favorite singer came to see him.
RP Dodge. RP Dodge.
Well, hello.
Man.
Greetings and salutations, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Sagas and Solace Convergence, episode 333. Brought to you by Milton Bradley. Have it your way.
Have it your way. That is what they say.
It's not the same.
It is.
What?
It is.
But S.E.
Third world, hello.
S.G. Johnson is a family company.
Copyright is a joke. It doesn't exist.
Copy these.
It's all in your imagination.
Copyright is a joke. It doesn't exist. I am now Tellery.
Please steal my art. Do it.
Do it that I might sue you. All of your money.
I don't even care. Please just put it everywhere.
I don't have any
Tell
money.
everyone my art is cool. Please. Please. Bless.
I mean,
All right.
poor.
Slaps
Zero
table.
gold.
It's time. Who's going to give the recap?
I believe that was me. I wrote up the recap.
Ooh, very good. Sorry.
All right. Ninanoth and Marlowe may have been the ones who were the head of the talk with the world leaders, but I was always listening. I'm grateful for the Princeps Atreus for convincing his father, the Bear King, to speak in a more peaceful path, and for their speaking of our legitimacy at the table with the world leaders. We had gathered so that we could talk of the sickness of the world caused by the Mad Wizard even after his death. However, it soon became clear there was a lot more going on than we thought. Just as the Broken Oaks are cursed, the South and the Pale City seem to be dealing with plagues and aberrations. Not to mention the demon Agamemnon, Fifth Ancient. There's so much we don't know about him yet, though. Though the meeting was meant to be a warning to the world leaders so that we could set aside our differences for the good of Corvinus, the words of the paladin Mikael reign true. To work together, we have to seek peace. And so, peace was reached. The Brass Baron was going to withhold his advances, aside from Mornhell, and admittedly the dwarves were abstaining from the peace until further information could be gathered and they could speak to the Thanes. Hopefully we'll be able to meet again with them sometime. For now, we have to set our eyes on the problems at hand and the problems that we're going to find in the future. The light hope still shines in Corvinus. Maybe we still have a chance to save it.
Inspiration. Good stuff.
But can I use the inspiration?
I mean, you have it. Whether or not you can use it is yet to be seen.
Dun, dun, dun.
Alright. Let it begin.
One by one, they disappear.
Okay, make things easier. At this point, around Moaz Kadan, or within it as well, each of the VIP guests in the city. Oh, sorry. Ugh. Had taken up residence while their stay. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Whilst their stay in Moaz Kadan continues for the peace talks, they have found different places in which to stay within the city, and some of them even without. So, you could call to meet with any of them that you wish, for any sort of agenda or proclamations that you might have. So, to get things going, let's start with what's on the table. That is Tyr's laboratories lay before you. All of the information that you have gathered thus far also does, plus the missions and tasks that you had beforehand all linger and stack up. Indeed, your battle with the Phoenix is on the horizon as well. So, what is it that the party would like to do first? Which problem would you like to tackle?
Probably, let's say, do we want to tackle production in the city, trade, and such things, or do we want to get more immediate into how we want the different parties to interact with the world?
I think
In their
to be able to have different parties interact with the world, they will need the tools. I think we should discuss probably with the Brass Baron about our finances for the forges.
Well, we also have the merchants and quite possibly those from Demon Deep might be worth talking to as well. As far as trade goes, there's many parties interested. And the forges should be open to the other parties, not just the Baron. He won't be the only one diving into them.
You know, I think you have a point. Speaking to the representative of Demon's Deep would probably be a good idea. The dwarves have been non-committal so far. Perhaps dangling a carrot in front might help speed things along in that regard.
Should we put out a blanket statement for those who wish to have a financial future with us, if they wish to come forward?
Feel like the loudest voice will be heard.
Obviously, but that's something I don't think we can fix.
What was that, Chrome?
I don't know. I would think that would be the fastest way to get a understanding, an understanding of how to get our production up and running. We need funds. We don't have enough time to generate on our own.
So you're with Nenonothin that we should bring them all in, all the ones that have a financial investment?
A wish to, yes.
We can always deny them if their ask is too absurd.
I feel the Baron will almost certainly be very greedy, and we might have to push his hand back to ensure the safety of the others. We do need to make sure that those who are in a less combat-capable situation receive more assistance. The Baron will... I think our main goal with the Baron was stating that these arms are not to be used in the battle with Mornhound. But he will, of course, have his own arms.
They will be.
If he makes his words, that is all I need to hear. Yes.
I think you're right. We should bring both the Barrow King and the Dwarf in here. If even... I want to put my backing on the Dwarf, but I want to make it clear to the representative of Demon's Deep that the Barrow King, the Brass Baron won't be able to simply push around. And in fact, it might incentivize him, the Demon's Deep, to push for it, to agree. So let's do that, yes. Yes, on board, 100%.
So we'll bring forth those who wish to have a financial talk. So probably a group chat.
You wish to talk to them all together or separately?
Probably
at least
together. Is at least my idea. Anyone have a better idea for singular?
I'm still a bit unaware of what the goal is. There was discussions of not wanting the Baron to use this or
for at least
the forges.
Well, the idea is that this will be the forges will be used to supply people for going their excursions into these dangerous areas. Basically, arming their men to protect themselves once they actually enter Tyr's labs.
And we'll need the financial backing to fully restore the forges to do this.
Do we have any current understanding of how the city is doing, or even how long we've been gone? I'm still
Yeah.
We waited
Been out of
2
it.
weeks.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
got
sure
you.
how close we're to
Well,
our-
you got an event roll coming up, but I can tell you your current pop. Fine. Give me just a second. I had other notes open. Let's see here.
I believe it's about 10,685.
Where did
Yeah,
I put the Moascadon?
And like 80% of that is the refugees from Haikyo.
Yeah, we got a lot of that from the.
Where did I put it? Hold on.
Yeah, I think
Get my shit
mo-
together.
like
Okay.
70%, yeah, was Glayans, something like that.
Yeah, we have an influx of like 4,000 that came in, if I recalled.
It was a little more than that, actually. I think it was like 6,000, something like that.
If we're able to open the forges without the assistance of the Baron, I think that's the best course of action.
That's a lot of money.
Or just say, hey,
True.
make your weapons. I think a lot of people in that meeting they had two motives. One was the immediacy motive of saving this continent. The other was what to do after.
Who rules it? Yeah.
I
agree.
think that we're just going to have to work alongside all of those disparate motives at once.
Yeah.
Okay, I have it here for you. Your current population points before the influx of refugees was 3,685. Your current upkeep is 3,190 gold pieces. You have Misted Lands trade routes under Lander at plus 40% market value. In the Royal Treasury, you have 8 diamonds. In your crafting stocks, you have 2 Mithril, 3 Quicksilver, 3 Fatherstone, 1 Abyssal Steel, Infernal Steel, Celestial Steel has 19 Steel, and Misty Glass. You also have the 4 Royal Protector Golems, which I don't think you guys have employed yet. You also have the artifacts, which are wherever they are. If it's not on your sheet, it's inside the
Yeah, we got them in the storage.
Okay.
We put the golems around the districts,
Mhm.
one in each, and in the center. There was talks of Gruul disassembling one or making one to
Yeah,
like a dreadnought thing.
Probably won't happen now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Okay, so administration commands. Let's see. Your current political ties are your official ones, I should say, are the Barrow King, Carter's sect of Mytheria's church, the Dusk Lilies, and the Bard's College. Let's see here. Now, with the influx of refugees, which I have that here in the
Jeez.
events panel. Refugees gave you 6,500 population increase, the cost of some stability. Let's see. And you guys also spoke
So-
with the representative from Haikyo
Yep.
as well.
Population actually might dip a little bit because, well, we won't dip now, but once we officially set up the,
Aikyo people.
yeah, a lot of them will probably end up dispersing to the other city.
All right, your total population is 11,185 population points. So that means your next event roll is going to be pretty popping.
Okay. Is it within the realm of possibility in our next event roll for us to be able to get the forges running? And
All of them, no. Some of them, yes. It really, and it also. I should remind you that more people than the Brass Baron have money. He just has a uncomfortable amount of it.
I feel like I should say in my not little girl British voice, the goal that I'm proposing is that we bring in that we talk to the Brass Baron, but I would like to get Demon's Deep size on it because they have money and they also have dwarves and they care about dwarves being in this city. and having something.
I
Yes.
Okay, but can
Fully
you do it
agree.
again in your little girl British voice?
I could, but I already did, so I'm re-emphasizing.
Sorry. The thing with
I
Guns
agree
is
with Twilight.
the ratio of now versus later in the mind of the characters' priorities. The dwarves have most of their chips on later. They're like, yeah, you know, if this gets solved, we want to concern ourselves with the aftermath.
Plus, they might outlive you. So
Right.
Yeah, and I also kind of share that perspective as well. It's like I think this conversation. Actually, I'll jump in character. This is something I think I should express on the table.
Please.
I can see that a lot of this discussion edges on the aftermath of this situation, the priorities people have in regards to that. I don't want to dissuade any of you from having the resolution of this be a priority, and how the world looks after that, considering that you are the people who will be living on this after things are, well, hopefully resolved. So, I will take your considerations into consideration, and I will probably have less of a say in the large decisions that will shape what this looks like after.
Many of my concern is, is constraining, guiding. Guiding, I guess, is probably the better way to look at it. The hand of the Baron. The chances of him being this avatar of the Orange seems likely to me. Little other choices other than, I don't know, perhaps one of the apprentices at best. I think it's
Explain
best.
to me, I suppose, why it would be so bad if the Brass Baron was in charge.
First off, he seems to think that he is the one who knows the best about this, and he's a singular man. I've seen no council that follows him, no one who whispers at his ears other than an assistant that he tells to what do, an assassin of some kind, which...
So you wish for him to know his place as a mortal? Is that all it is?
Know his place.
Yes.
It's a bit less condescending than that. The man has aspirations, and we understand that this place was designed to feed people's aspirations, to make people want to go farther, do more, reach higher. That's entirely the intentions of this.
I understand that currently it's a problem, but if we succeed in what our goal is, that shouldn't be a problem anymore.
It is, as far as we can tell, something we have done great work on. The fact that he has agreed to stop his war campaign, well, albeit after he's done with it, is a goal that we've achieved. From my understanding, his intentions was to take Mornhell and then move. The fact that we've got him at a stopping point was an accomplishment at this point. I think our best option is to attempt to be in his ear, help him, guide him with these tier labs. If we can get into the Ice Hunter, get a lot of information out of there, and then feed him information about how we can go about getting into these labs. Another option I would state is to create some task force created by Pandora and her people, and have her people be, well, the people who delve into the secrets of these locations, extract them, while also being fully cooperative with whatever group they're with. It should be enough for them to gain the information of reward enough from Tyr himself that they should be able to restrain their other proclivities. Hopefully.
I will sigh and cross my arms. I think you're missing the point, and I'm going to consider how better to word it.
He'll nod.
but that may take some time. So if anyone else has ideas, thoughts, who should we talk to first? I think we should talk to someone first, just to get the ball rolling.
Honestly, say, if we're trying to get money from the forges and everything, I say talk to the dwarves.
This is theirs. Perhaps it is best to speak to them about the forges. They'll have the best of the history, knowledge of them, and then we can inform him of our intentions with financial support. Does that seem agreeable?
Yes.
Right. Raza, if you would call in the dwarf.
Very well. I shall summon him forth.
I'll have to make note of these people.
And so, the representative from Demon's Deep is summoned forth to speak with the Carnelian Circle. Sir Ember Dane approaches the council table. He does a salute and takes his seat. He will lean forward and he will say, "And what might the dwarves do for you today, Carnelian Circle?"
Glances at you guys.
Are you going to speak?
Marlo will gesture over to Gruul.
It is good to see you. We have intentions of getting the forges up and running. A bit of a way to assist those who are working out within the labs. Supplies, armor, other such things. But we are very aware that these are your people's forges at one point. Much of your history is attached, and their repairs may be delicate. We would like to listen to your counsel on such things, as well as perhaps give you an opportunity should you wish to assist in such things.
I mean no disrespect with my words, but your question I find to be a bit, well, I cannot even begin to unravel the, shall we say, audacity of the request. Of course, the dwarves and I would like to work upon our ancient forges that our fathers forged together, walk the stone halls that were once carved by dwarvish hands, to explore the old roads deep beneath the earth. To be quite honest, it is with a heavy heart and a tightened fist that I sit here, listening to those that live in the vestiges of my people, asking me if I would like to join them in repairing them.
Well, why is that, if you don't mind me asking? We are the people who bought this with the blood of ourselves and our friends, who slayed the demon that took ownership of this ruined place.
Indeed, and by blood right, it is yours, for you have spilt it. One thing can be true, and so can another. I did not say I would not disrespect it, nor even abide by it. That does not mean I have to like it. You sit and stand upon dwarven halls. Bleed you may have, but you did not make it. It was stolen from my people. To answer your question, I will need to speak with the Thane of Trade.
Understood. And understand I meant no disrespect, but in truth, if we had not taken it, the Metharians would have had it, and I don't believe such deals would have ever been made. Their own would have been brought in.
I believe you may be wrong about that. But
No,
it
it's-
matters little. As he kind of hand waves it away. What's done is done. Moaz Kadan is yours. All
Send
I
the day.
ask is that if you are going to ask of my people's aid, that you at the very least respect what has been built before. We do not wish to see them erased.
Of course.
Sir Imbadane, how soon do you believe we could expect word from the Thane of Trade?
I should expect response soon. Within a week or so.
That is good. I would like to suggest that my fellows and I, we wish to restore the forges, obviously, to support the effort in correcting the problem with Corvinus. And if you would relay this to your Thane of Trade and show him that you were the first that we thought of when thinking of how to restore them to the best dwarven way, to get them how they should be.
Make me a persuasion check.
Dang it, I can't roll one. Hang on. There we go.
You will see that Sir Emberdane strokes his beard and considers your words. It does show great respect that you thought first to ask of my people. I shall be sure to include that in my report.
Nods.
As to whether or not the Thane of Trade will be open to your suggestion, I must still wait for his response, but I will give what guidance that I possess. The first of many questions would be, if we were to aid you, of revitalizing the forges, of awakening the hearths, exactly what do you intend to do with them? You say to help those with the effort, but what does that entail precisely?
I'll glance to the others.
It entails arming those who need arms for the solution, or whatever path they're taking to their solution. And I understand that none of this is in a vacuum. I operate in your lands under the privilege of knowing that this is a event that once concluded I can leave. But nothing that happens here in the past days, the days coming forward, are isolated. There will be repercussions for every action that is taken. The arming of the Baron to help deal with Agamemnon, or whatever issue he decides is the most pertinent one, will affect the wars to come. That is something I cannot help with in terms of perspective. But
The dwarf will interject. There are two facets I wish to explore. First, you stated that you are going to leave once your mission is concluded.
I believe so.
When you say you, do you mean all of you or only yourself?
I speak for myself.
He's a foreigner and a traveler.
Myself in what current governance I am governing this place over. Apologies for stumbling over my words. It's been a long day.
Are you suggesting that once your mission is complete, you will abdicate from Moaz Kadan?
Personally, I will. I have succeeded in my mission here. I stay on behalf of my friends and making sure that this place has a chance to last.
Does the rest of the Carnelian Circle agree to this precedent?
We have been well aware that Mr. Marlowe would likely leave us at some point.
His personal goals are divinely inclined.
Perhaps I should reiterate what I mean. I do not know whether or not you know that he is going to leave. I am asking, what are you intending to do once the mission is done? Are you to leave with him? Will you abdicate the city of Moaz-Kadan?
I understood.
I intend to remain, personally.
In truth, I understand that I cannot stay within control of this place forever. I intend to, at some point, give most of control over to Swig, the Archdruid, as this will be his domain, protector of its city, its ley lines, and other such things. He has shown great interest in the future of this place.
And you, brother? Should it pass to you, what do you intend to do with it?
See to it that is never forgotten.
Such language has much prose but little substance. Would you like to be more specific?
Well, under the previous generation, the title given to the city was... what was it? The Forgotten City? It was no longer known as Moaz-Kadan by any others. Not by any who dwelled the land except for, of course, the dwarves.
You ask of my people to show you the way, to awaken the ancient forges. And yet, some of you deign to stay. Brother Swig is of kin and kith, despite his condition. But the rest tend to sit in a place that was stolen. I do not know what my Thane will say in regards to your request. But if you do truly intend to abdicate your power, if this city is a means to an end to you, as I suspect from your discussions that it is, then I cannot help but ask, would it not be better in dwarvish hands?
I suppose this would be a matter for further discussion. There are certain tenets that Moaz-Kadan now abides by in the interest of the collection and maintaining of information, keeping things from being forgotten. Potentially, this could be something that the city continues to do for all time, if at all possible. But that is for future discussion. If you would bring that detail to your Thane of Trade.
Very well. I shall bring these terms towards the Thane of Trade and request his guidance on this particular issue. He will then sort of pull upon his beard once more, as if thinking about something. The second facet I wish to discuss is the assertion of that should we succeed in our endeavors to defeat this true threat to Corvanus, I believe that it is to be discussed as to whom shall receive the benefits of this forge. Why, yes, they would definitely use these weapons and armaments against our common foe. At some point, the common foe will be defeated, and then their weapons may be turned against their rivals. And while you may leave this continent and be dispersed of your purpose, the long lives of the dwarves will see much more than those of the eye blinks that stand before me. With all due respect, our peoples have suffered much, and I do not wish to see one Dark Master traded for another. Therefore,
I agree with you on that.
Therefore, my comment is as straightforward as it could be. If we are to activate the forges and see the armaments produced that would aid in the completion of this solution, we would need some grievance to be made to ensure that they would not be turned against us. As to what that would be, I cannot say. I will have to ask for additional guidance from the Thane of Trade. But I wanted it to be clear of what my stance was.
I'm sure something could be arranged. Perhaps political oaths and such.
Deals created other ways of assuring that there is at least purposeful actions made to ensure that these weapons are kept for the purposes that they're intended for. The weapons that they already hold will obviously be beyond this, but these will be brought forward to the others as well.
Very well. I suppose that is all that could be asked of right now. I thank you for your time, Cornelian Circle. I shall send word to the Thane of Trade.
We thank you for yours, Sir Embedane. Be well.
Sir Embedane will stand, salute, and go about his business.
I think that went well.
Apologies, Swig. The conversation went in a direction I wasn't expecting. I did not mean to sidewind you with that. Is such a future something you intend? To stay within this place, become its protector, perhaps even owner?
The far future holds many things, but yes, that is one of the things I wish to see.
Good.
It will be interesting.
Next, should we continue on our, financially speaking, gains? Speak to perhaps the other traders, the merchants from the brothers, or the kings, I guess?
You mean Saphira?
Yes.
Yes, probably.
In what regard? I think a lot of this depends on the answer from the dwarves, as there would be a conflict of interest if they decide that they are willing to open the forges up with an expectation of being the inheritors of them.
I believe... Go ahead, sorry.
No, I'd like to hear what you have to say.
I believe speaking to the representatives of Saphira would be more important, less for the financial input that they may have, but the fact that they are probably going to be our primary source of adventurers with unique skill sets to send on these missions.
They're also prolific traders, and while forges will obviously be our primary income, they will also be someone who might buy the other products that made outside of weapons, arms, other such things. And in truth, the dwarves won't own this place for some time, and these people will most likely be long gone by that point.
Yes.
A trade deal can be set up between us, and I'm sure once the dwarves do intend to move in, that they would still wish to maintain such trades. It wouldn't be to their own advantage, after all.
Yes, we should speak to them next. Also, Mr. Swig, if I might have a moment later after these meetings, I have a proposition for you. Or rather, a curiosity. But it can wait. I just wanted to voice it, so I don't forget.
Alright.
Saphira, then? Oh, sorry.
I might suggest that it be a goal of ours to understand where all of these disparate forces are headed. Get an accurate map of what is going to be tackled.
Alright, so let's look at the the vault map, the tier map.
Yeah.
All right, let me put that map.
Nas got it out here on the table.
I think we should focus on what is everyone doing before having any consideration for let's suggest people do things.
You mean what we're doing?
And what we're doing.
Oh, you mean what they're all currently involved in, yes?
Their own self-interest will guide them naturally to places, and I think that's a better fuel than, the Carnelian Circle suggests you do this instead. They'll be more effective backed by their own self-interest.
Agreed.
I gotta figure out what, like, the Barricade people in Saphira are currently up to.
Well, the Barrow King is currently making a push towards Mornhal, so...
The Barrow King is?
No, not the... I keep mixing up the Barrow
Brass
King
Baron?
and the Brass Baron. So many Bs.
BB.
They all look the same to you, halflings.
They all look the same to me.
They're just big. the biggins, alright?
Everybody has the same shape to their knees, okay? It's basically the same. Boots, same brand.
They have rather identical kneecaps.
Yeah. It's my target. Okay, so, alright. So, looking at the map, okay, so, Mr. Marlowe, who do we want to start with? The Brass Baron?
Do we know where he's going? Do we know where we know where the dwarf is going, and that's back to Demon's Deep to
Going back to Demon's Deep, yes.
do bureaucracy, but where is every other faction?
We know the Brass
focused?
Baron has been making this little trail all the way up to Mornhal. He's aiming for Mornhal currently, and he will be continuing his campaign there.
He said he would continue the campaign there and then would stop pushing and focus on whatever problems we needed to point him to.
One question I have for Arcadum is we know he has a presence in the Twisting Pines. Do we know like to what extent he has?
His presence is the movement of his troops.
Okay, so it's just
They're in the
I
Twisted
think-
Pines because Mornhal is right there, and he needs a place to be able to resupply his troops.
I think it's been established that in his eyes, he owns everything but the circle that's around Moazkadan. And he's like, well, technically, I probably own that too. I think it's safe to assume that the Twisted Pines is his territory.
So what targets do we have?
This goes down to the
here?
ancient law of he stands on it and he has the biggest sword. It's his.
Yeah.
Well, there is a vault in the Weeping Lake area, and there was the fact we were talking about the Broken Brothers and the curses, so if we needed places to send Mr. Brass Baron...
To be clear, you only showed him the map of the labs, right? Not the full tier map? Or did you show
The
him?
maps that everyone knows is the location of the labs and the ley lines.
Oh, and the ley lines, okay.
Yeah. Any other information I wasn't given. At least
we'd be
physically,
dealing-
verbally it might have. But.
So
We'd be dealing with the Duke of Isola.
So we've used one acorn, unfortunately not on a major line. One's going to a major line, one's in the east, or sorry, the west.
The west
Okay.
heading east.
And there's no major ley line over there, unfortunately, except for the one that's on the island, which already has an acorn. We couldn't get to the one in the Silverstones.
There's also one by the last
Church.
barrel.
Yeah, and then one by the Demon Waste, which I think... Do we intend on like saving that one for the Demon Waste or something? Like, what is our intention with this last acorn? I guess is.
I still
probably-
think we can't make any informed decision until we have all of the faction tokens on the map with an arrow saying these guys want to do this, these guys want to do that.
We
You know.
we kind of do. It's been explained to us, so we know where they're going and what they're doing.
We have no idea where they're going or what they're doing. I mean, we do prior to the meeting, but after the meeting, we have no idea what. The Baron said he's like, yes, I will help you defend the world because I'm amazing, but afterwards I'm taking Mornhow.
So, what is everyone's
Now, he's
opinion?
currently taking Mornhal. He's not putting a pause on his Mornhal conquest. He's already paid
He
for
said
it.
he would.
No, he said he's already paid for it, and he's going anyway.
Okay, the quest is on pause because he's gonna go save the world and be great, and
So-
then he's like, I will take Mornhow. That
He's gonna
implies that he's pausing.
He's multitasking, is what he's saying. Is he's going to do both?
Okay, but we still don't know what he's choosing to do now in regards to the Agamemnon threat.
I suppose we can
Or
talk to
anyone.
him one-on-one, and he will explain it to you more easily.
Yes.
I'd rather not talk to him, but figuring out what he's doing now, or just getting input from every faction.
Is it
above-
not simpler to simply ask someone what they're doing to find this out?
It's probably simpler just to ask a courier or something than to talk to that fucking guy.
Suppose I could do
That's
some
not-
spycraft. I can go and spy on him or something.
It's spark joy, Twilight Man.
I mean, I am perfectly content to speak to him. We are currently allies.
Right. To be clear, we are going to be speaking with him. It's too important not to. But
Agreed.
it is also my intentions, which is to say, is that anyone who intends to enter into these tier labs should get some level of direct support, not necessarily just tools and weapons and armors.
Aye, true.
Does anyone have any arguments against my previous statement of having Pandora and her priesthood actively support anyone who delves into these places, as their pretenses towards secrets may be very helpful in gaining the information within these places?
He agrees to it. I think it's prudent.
Should we perhaps bring Pandora her first and ask if she is able to create such task force, and whether or not they would be willing to cooperate?
Sure, but what if no faction decides to tackle any of the tier labs? That's what I'm saying. Let's set these maps aside for the time being. We need to know. Perhaps let time take its course and do something in the meantime. But we need to know where people are going.
That is the point of what we're doing here.
I think, judging by the tier lab that we've been in, they will have a greater chance of success by sending in specialized teams of strong, powerful individuals. We should recruit adventuring teams to go into them. They should be supported by these factions, but I don't think we're sending the Brass Baron's entire legion down into a tier lab.
Agreed.
We're not sending people. You missed my point. This is not the point of what we're doing here. We're speculating. Let's not speculate. This is a waste of time.
What? Okay.
If you wish to talk to the Brass Baron, go talk to him. Ask him what he's doing. We need to understand where people are going. They will make their own decision. Let us get those decisions, collect them, place them on the map, and then make an educated decision for ourselves.
I will grip the edge of the table with my fingernails. Yes, then let's call one of them in. Let's ask the Brass Baron what the plan is. Yes, okay, let's do that.
Laza, please call in the Baron.
Rightio!
Oh. Like pinching the bridge of my nose so hard.
I was just staring at everyone like, gonna roll the map up again. Put it away.
No, let's unroll the map and talk about what everyone's doing without asking.
I wouldn't put that away, yes. Leave it out on the table.
Okay.
Alright. Davian Laton, the Brass Baron, once more. Bam! Oh my god! Look at. Oh!
Look at that chin.
In pains, swoon.
I still
Baron Latom?
think this is the best armor you've ever made. Like, it's really good, Waymaker. It's fucking sick.
Thanks, man.
Anyway.
So shiny.
Go on.
Brass Baron, thank you for joining us.
He will take a seat. His attendant, Suzanka Yanigawa, will stand behind him. He will take a seat, lean forward, his brass gauntlet resting upon the table of stone, and he will look over towards the Twilight Mouse. Yes. Hold on. Gotta remember his voice. It's, God, what? Give me a second.
Full Johnny Bravo, yeah.
You there, little mama? It's me, Davian Latone. Okay, almost. And, there we go. So it seems that the Cornelian Circle requires my interjection. Very well. I've made the time to be here. Let us begin. Forgive me, milady, but I do not recall your name.
It is Lady Ambersong.
Lady Ambersong, yes. Of the Pale City, if my memory serves correct.
Yes, at least recently.
Very good,
Baron,
very good. Oh, please go on.
we wish to clarify after the end of that meeting. We wanted to be certain that we were clear before we decided on future objectives. On your war with the with Mornhow, are you going to be putting that on pause and returning to it after the mission, or are you going to be multitasking? We don't know that we can afford distractions.
I find that quite audacious to tell me what you can and cannot afford. Especially since it is most likely going to be gold from my coffers that will fuel this solution. But I digress. To answer the heart of your question, as I was stated during the meeting with all of us here, my plan is quite simple. I cannot stop my conquest of Mornhowl whilst it is in the middle of its siege. To do so would have put all of the men that I have already spent to its capture put to waste. There are too many plans in motion, too many clocks waiting to strike at the same precise time that I could possibly even consider retreat, retraction, or delay.
I understand momentum is important.
However, I am also not oblivious nor deigned to be ignorant of the threats that you have presented. Indeed, they have robbed me of quite a few hours of sleep these past few nights. I have been thinking deeply upon our conundrum and how I might be of service. Therefore, I shall reclarify and reiterate. I will not stop my conquest of Mornhowl. That is going to happen regardless of anything that we speak about here. There's just simply too much blood that has been paid for it. However, once that conquest is done, I shall delay my ambitions to turn my full focus upon the task at hand. As to the task at hand, whilst I am attempting to take Mornhowl, I will, of course, multitask. Yes. And there are many methods in which I have concocted over these past few nights that may be able to be presented towards you. I hope that you will find these proposals to your liking. He will open his hand behind him, and Sazanka will place in his hand a dossier, and he will pass them out to all of the Carnelian Circle. Within it, you can see a series of parchments stacked, everything written out in an elegant calligraphic hand, explaining in precise detail on how the Brass Baron would like to assist you.
Gonna be hard to read. Hang on.
He continues. Now, you have the writing in front of you, but I am more of a practitioner of the oralation, so I shall continue with my own raw prose, if that is acceptable. I find that our current situation makes some things untenable. More so, the fact that you have the forges of Moaz Kadan currently, well, in their disrepair. Now, while the economical impact that those forges will have is without a doubt going to be most encompassing, for now I would like to put that subject aside, as it was obvious from the dwarf's demeanor during our meeting that he probably has had something to say about it. Therefore, we will turn our attention to something that I can do something about, and that is forces. More suitably, and more academically, forces that are not bound to a banner. You may or may not be aware that the old man in the room, the man behind the elf, Elrond Truefire, is a famous adventurer in his own right, and a practitioner of the highest order of adventuring. In fact, before his inn fell, he was once the de facto guild leader in all adventuring needs in the Broken Oaks. I have worked with the man on many occasions, and now in my current position, I find myself swathed with mercenary forces, adventurers seeking easy coin. But there are amongst them a few exceptional individuals, ones that I believe I could put in the employ of the Carnelian Circle, to ensure that these tasks that require focus and less distraction from the politics of our world may be more suitable. Gold, though Solace, is also quite neutral.
I will smile and glance over at Grull.
He'll nod.
There's information that we require in order to. Well, before that, I appreciate this. Suppose you're. Let us safely assume that you will conquer and take Mornhow for yours. Afterwards, if you take a more direct approach to ensuring that the land survives to see your ownership of Mornhow continue, what would your direct approach towards this issue be? Where will you be focusing? That is something we require.
If I possessed the city of Mornhow, I could simply stop fighting for it. I could take my more specialized troops, including my favored brash shadows, and place them in a more appropriate position. They are my most capable soldiers. I would simply employ them to your use.
You would defer the direction of your forces to us?
Not under direct command, of course. But you spoke true, did you not? When you spoke to all of us?
I spoke true, but we are not warlords, leaders of forces.
He will hold up his hand and kind of like he's batting away a fly. Oh yes, labels, those pesky things. I can sense amongst each of you a palpable martial tendency. I dare say that you have tasted the thrill of battle several times. You did not get to where you were without violence. Indeed, without your own desires being made manifest because you were willing to hold the blade. You do not need to explain away this type of infraction, for it is no infraction at all. We understand one another, more so than perhaps you would care to admit. But I'm not one for philosophy. Therefore, I shall be straightforward. I will be able to provide direct support to this problem that you have presented, one that I believe that you have presented well, and that I believe is of a greater import than my personal ambitions. But I cannot give you my best support, my strongest soldiers, until after I have conquered Mornhow. Which leads me to my second facet of our discussion. As it just so happens, the people of Mornhow following the regent usurper king, are quite tired of war. Indeed, many look upon this regent king as some kind of villain, and yet others see him as a savior. I personally simply see him as a unique opportunity. The old prince is yet still fighting to take the place of his father and to place a Mitharian flag, a banner over the city. Now, my proposal is quite simple. I have it under good authority that the prince has been, shall we say, failing to inspire his men. They need a proper leader, one whom they might respect, one whom they might be given a different purpose for. My proposal is this. I've spoken at some length these past few nights with Captain John Carter. I believe that he is a fine soldier in his own right, but more importantly, his faith is tenable. It is less irksome. Therefore, my proposal is, why not utilize the dear captain to take the enemy from within, to turn the yoke of Mitharia's purpose, to battle against this pointless war in Mornhal, to have them surrender their position, usurp this false prince, regardless of what his bloodmine might say. Do this, and not only will our dear captain be able to gather more into his sect, more that he could use to convince his Mitharian allies to his cause, but indeed allow the easier capture of Mornhal, and therefore my immediate assistance.
I will smile.
I cannot speak for the captain. I think that there are a lot of things on his plate that just...
We will have to speak with him.
But this is most tenable. His forces are slim. His revelations have not taken well to many of his brethren. But with many of them in Mornhal being so disheveled,
Indeed.
he might find allies.
If there is a way to capture Mornhal with less loss of life, with less blood being shed, I believe it is imperative, as per the words of Mikael Grace, to find peace as quickly as possible. And indeed, I happen to find Captain John Carter to be, I do not know how to put this in a way that does not sound offensive, so I shall speak bluntly. I find him far more tolerable to speak to than any other Mitharian that I have. And that is saying something.
Nods in agreement.
Mm-hmm.
I dare say that perhaps a peace may even be found between the Mitharians and the rest of the world if Captain John Carter were at the helm. I know that is a lot to ask, and that's not something that we will solve anytime soon, but I am simply speculating that if we want the highest chance of success of our shared mission to save Corvanus, then we should not only save it in the literal sense, but save it in the future sense. That is my proposal. It is two-pronged, both of which I think you will find helpful to your cause, and it is within the parameters that I find acceptable for my own personal position. Feel free to speak with Captain Carter. I have spoken with him a bit, but he seemed hesitant. He greatly respects the opinion of the Carnelian Circle. Therefore, I offer it to you to speak to him on my behalf. And should you agree, I believe that within only a few months' time, perhaps even sooner, that you may have my finest soldiers at your disposal to deal with this wizard, whatever.
I have a counter-proposal in respect to yours. We will convene with Carter and everyone else. We have already spoken to the dwarves, and they are off to do bureaucracy within their own
yes, a bureaucracy.
Once all of our meetings are concluded and we have a better estimation of where people are and what they're doing in their approach to solving this problem, we will reconvene with you and show you the places that are not tackled and lean on your wisdom to delegate your forces.
He will nod. Of course, you have much to consider in your position. I did not mean to be so earnest. Forthright? No. Being too honest is a silly thing to apologize for. Perhaps enthusiastic. I know that you are in a position where you must carefully consider each movement. Therefore, please take all the time that you need. My wisdom and my forces, as much as I can spare them, are at your disposal. I wish for the same outcome, a healthy Corvinus, free of war, of peace and prosperity.
Also, I have a request. I have received dossiers from the others, but I still have yet to receive one of the aberrants that you have met in the Broken Brothers. Will you be able to supply this?
And I asked that again?
He's asking for another dossier. Here, I'll just do it again. I've received dossiers from the others about the aberrants. I have yet to receive one from you and your forces. Will I be receiving this report soon?
Yes, of course. Sazonka, be sure to have that delivered whenever you can. She will nod. Apologies, apparently somebody did not do their paperwork. Fear not. That will be quite the flogging. Anything else?
He'll look to rest.
I think that will be all. Unless anyone else has something.
Hopefully, once your war side has been completed, we can get more productive. But this is the beginning.
Indeed. I hope that you will take me up at least one of my offers, but as previously said, take your time. I understand your position. I hope I have made my stance clear.
We appreciate it. We will keep you well informed.
He will nod and he will stand. In that case, Carnelian Circle, I thank you, and he will give you a salute. And the Brass Baron will exit the audience chamber. God, man, he's fun to roleplay.
Does he flourish his cape on the way up?
He does. He's every bit as dramatic as you were imagining.
He will be
Slay Queen.
He will be a difficult one to.
I didn't know that there was wind down in this area.
I honestly can't.
doing it with his hand.
I can't wait to build his combat stats, dude. There's gonna be so much shit on that hammer. I can't wait.
Nice.
The best money can buy.
Well, I suppose that clarifies some things. We should probably speak to Kata next.
I'm not convincing Carter to help the Baron to risk his life to help the Baron take his fucking conquest thing.
Why not?
I'm not.
It would do
Why not? What
It's
the fuck?
efficient.
To calm. He was not asking him to risk his life. He was asking him to be a diplomatic force, to go in, speak, and attempt to negotiate and speak to them, not be a add into their war efforts. That was not what he requested.
I see Carter different than you do, and your microscopic view of history. I'm not using him as a chip to further some expediency on behalf of the Baron.
I understand you, Morrow, but I don't see it in this kind of esoteric importance of history making a moment of... There are things that are more important than creating immeasurable, important moments in history.
That man's life isn't a political bargaining chip. If it is to you, then so be it, but it's not to me. The Baron wants Mornhell. That's his concern. That's not my concern.
Yes, but he could gain forces, men to be put onto the field that will then protect him as he marches within the demon wastes.
I think all of this is a little over the top. We should ask the man, present the information, present the Baron's ideas, and ask Carter himself what he would like to do. Check his agency.
The only person I have any intentions for Carter's sword to fall upon is demons as he marches towards Matheria. I have
We
no
don't
intention.
command Carter any more than we command the Brass Baron.
That isn't truth. But he is swayed by our words. And I don't doubt that if we ask of him this, he will do it. He does obviously wish to be reunited with his men, and to have them swayed to his own cause will probably be for the best. He is, after all, a commanding man. He is used to having men under him. I don't know if he could do well without such.
I know we don't want to be manipulated by the Brass Baron, but he has a good point.
This is unfortunate, but I believe he is attempting to sway us with good deals, to get us more entwined with him by simply giving us what we want.
It's Brass Baron for you. Alright, who we calling next?
No.
If we don't want to do Carter yet, we can always talk to someone else, like the Barrow King, see what's up with him now that he and the Princept have been talking about peace.
I think speaking to Carter while it's fresh on our minds will be our most likely possibility of relaying the information we just received and the idea as it is,
Very
but
well.
without coming from the Baron's mouth. Perhaps Carter will have a better idea that we have not considered. Something that the Baron would simply roll over, but that we might take into consideration.
I say hold.
Are you humoring yourself, Miss Twilight?
What do you mean? What do you mean humoring myself?
You sit at this table with your offhanded comments about swaying people and suggesting things.
And
do you understand where you're sitting and what you're doing exactly?
Yes, everything we do at this table will sway someone. By being here, we are swaying the tides of history, as you call it. What are you doing? What is your purpose here?
I'm trying to help you.
Okay.
I'm trying to help you by getting information on a map that you don't have. Do you get that?
I'm struggling to understand what you mean. Perhaps using more words.
Perhaps less berating and more actually speaking to what you wish we do at this point. And all you've done is...
We don't know what to do because we don't know what everyone else is doing.
Yes, but we can't not act.
That's the goal.
We have to do something. Speaking, letting ideas flow between us, and then venturing forth is all we have. These people are here, but they're not going to be here forever. They can't afford to be. They have things that they have to return to, duties that they are seen to. We can speak to them at distance if need be, but right now, every single one of them are in these halls, speaking to each other. Whether or not we have the information we need is irrelevant. What we have right now is their ear.
We've brought them together, and then we have explained things that they didn't together know. They knew bits and pieces, and now they all, like us, know a great deal more of how it all fits together, and now they're willing to work together. Why don't you want to point anyone in a direction to do it, Marlowe? Do you just want to sit here and wait for them to decide on their own? They're listening to us. They're coming to us for tasks, for direction.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. That is why
the Baron came to us with a request that his conquest be assisted by using someone else. The dwarf didn't.
Are you getting
for advice? He wanted
getting
this place,
nothing
but
out of this?
He couldn't have it.
You are also getting something out of this. Everyone around this table is. Whether it is something that will only last me 60 years, or something that will last you hundreds, thousands even, I don't know how long you live. The Baron wants something. The dwarves want something. Saphira, the elves, the church, they all want something.
I think you need to understand something, Marlo. The Baron has promised to end his wars after Mornhow. Not to all of us, to in front of every other world leader standing before him. If he breaks that promise, he breaks his trust with
Delay.
every single major person.
Delay, not end.
A delay.
Mhm.
Sorry, delay.
That is an incredibly important distinction. Do not get that wrong.
Understood.
Why are you trying to explain this to me as if I wasn't listening? I understand all of these things. I'm trying to make a point.
What is your point?
My point is you have no idea what people are doing, and instead of trying to figure out what people are doing, you're attempting to sway them, or humoring the idea of swaying them, or suggesting, oh, perhaps we should tell Carter to assist the Baron.
I agree.
You did not
installing the-
listen to me at all. I suggested we speak to Carter, present to him the idea that the Baron presented, and hear Carter to see if he has a different one.
Look,
Without the Baron being in the room to overpower him. The Baron will get his way if he's the one in lead of the conversation. That is why we are speaking to the groups individually.
Look, it is probably also an imperative to wait on speaking to Carter. There are other people, especially I would state of the Barrow King, who needs to be spoken of. We do need to also speak to him about the aspect of his daughter.
I feel like I need to interject here, and I think you guys are kind of talking around each other. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Luke, that Marlowe means you should talk to everyone first to find out what they're doing, put them all on the map, and then discuss what to do.
100%.
Yeah.
That's also what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying delay Carter because it's clearly not.
Yeah, and I think the other side of what Luke means through Marlowe is that if you talk to Carter about the proposition before you talk to everyone else, you have an unknown variable that could affect that.
We're putting the seed in his head that, hey, this is an idea. You should be. Yeah, it's not good.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm also from the perspective of, like, we don't even need to physically talk to these people. We just need the data. What are you doing, Baron? Oh, I'm taking Mornhow. When I'm done, you can have 10 million troops.
Yeah,
cool.
They
Peace.
also might not be as like the Brass Baron's certainly arrogant enough to be forthcoming. That's kind of like the virtue of his thing, but others might not be. Remember, you can also employ espionage and stuff like that. You have all the options in front of you. Just I just wanted to make sure that we're having productive conversations because it sounds like you guys are talking around each other there for a second.
Yeah.
Also, I have to go to the bathroom.
Thank you.
Right back.
Okay. Yeah, look, we will delay Carter. It is best not to immediately dump the intentions of another on him when we have yet to obtain everyone else's intentions. We can probably, I would say, speak to the Barrow King, as I believe he is also someone to whom we can gain much assistance, as well as inform him of the current condition of his daughter, and he'll look to Chrome, perhaps also other incentives we may be able to get him on our side. At least with assisting Carter with Matheria.
Yes, I suppose so.
Alright, I'm back.
I want to make it clear that I'm not looking to push decisions immediately. I also want to gather all the information. I'm not trying to jump to a conclusion. I don't want it to seem that that's what I'm doing. I apologize for my rashness.
Unfortunately, I do believe you were a little too quick to jump on opportunities. Try to rein yourself in. But, if nothing else, you have betrayed yourself far better these last few days than you have previously.
I'll smile. I don't want to miss an opportunity by hesitating.
There'll be plenty of time for action to be asked of you, but now I think patience is the wisest course of action.
I will endeavor to be more patient.
Don't let you get caught up in his ambitions. He'll smirk to himself. Nonetheless,
So Barrow King next?
Yes, I believe it is probably important. Unless anyone else has some suggestions.
Or just kind of leans back in her chair. Laza?
Very well. Rightio.
Lift your finger. Do the little circle in the air. Ring him up. Mods, get this man.
All right, and in walks the OG, the big man, the Barrow King. Man, look at him. Isn't he awesome?
That guy. Mm-hmm. Handsome.
I have to remember his voice. It's
Raspy.
all right. He takes a seat, and as he does so, his attendants, his inset, as well as Evelyn Lestrange, stand behind him, and then he will speak. Carnelian Circle, it is good to see you. I will say, the short amount of time that I have spent within your halls brings me great joy to see such law and order restored to a place once wild and abandoned. I particularly have enjoyed my strolls through your grove, Swig. You've done well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your compliments. He'll give a bow.
Now, what can I do to assist the Carnelian Circle?
A few questions and a few pieces of information we wish to give you.
Speak then enough.
For the most part, I think one of the most pressing pieces of information is your daughter. We believe that she has, in a sense, returned. At least in spirit, but not technically body, albeit she does possess one.
Yes.
She, not to get too complicated, but essentially she used a force beyond herself to ascend. And once that force was defeated in another land, her essence was freed from it. Her divinity was separated from her, as you can probably tell. And now her body is, or soul, I should say, trapped within the demon wastes within a succubus.
You will see the, at most times, stoic face of the Barrow King twinge with a true sorrow. I see. You will also see flashes of hatred appear in his eyes once more, as if there are two halves of him at war with each other. How certain of this are you?
It is from the most reliable source we could obtain.
I see.
Well corroborated from many disparate sources.
I see.
Seems the flame of divinity, the soul and the body have been separated from one another. There's a lot that we do not know.
Very well. It is difficult to imagine a world in which my daughter is still living.
It is a strange existence, we believe, but one of the things that we are, look to Marla for a moment, rather finding ourselves necessary in speaking to you about, is that we do need to speak to her, to understand her intentions and what exactly brought about her decisions, because she, whether you are aware of it or not, was in a position of great power beyond just Corvanus, a member of a group known as the Seven. Have you heard of this?
I have, to some degree. How your words sting upon me to know so little of my own flesh and blood. I feel such shame. Was I truly such a terrible father? What is this power? Please explain it to me.
I will, but I must also start with a warning, as it was this power that most likely led her to the decisions that she made, the destruction of your family and many others.
Are you saying this power corrupted her, took control of her?
Such... he'll hold a hand to Nara. Such inner truths of it are beyond us, but during the time that she had taken the power, from our understanding, it was corrupted.
I can speak more to that if you wish.
Please do.
From what we've gathered, that power was offered. A deal of sorts was made. She accepted it. Whether she knew of its corrupting nature or not, it was a bargain that she had made. Which is what led me to ask you the questions in the first place in our meeting about what you knew of what she knew. Because I don't believe such a bargain would have been made had she not been well informed. This power is one of a on the level of the architecture of the world itself, things deeper than magic, the fabric of the universe, so to speak. These are large and unquantifiable forces. It is like tapping into a well that you would have no ability to control. That is a force that she made a bargain with. This is a force that would take possession of her soul, that would divide her into parts.
You'll see the Barrow King sort of look at the ground for a moment, lost in thought. You said it would be a deal?
Yes. That is what we had learned through gathering the different sagas, speaking to different ancient beings across the land. Even some of the record in Mornhow corroborated a bit of this and sent us on our journey. It's the why she did that I think will give us more information about Agamemnon, about everything. I think she knew what was happening. I think she knew more about this. Or she was just a naive child tapping into a well, but I don't believe that.
Not one of the 7, no.
You will see that he seems to be really thinking about what you said. What kind of deal? What weight would be required?
Her service to this power, we believe, and its reward, divinity, I would assume, but more importantly, that demons would be sealed from this continent. Unfortunately, the deal has fallen through, as you can probably tell, with this force now no longer corrupted and sealed back to where it should be. Their deal fell through, and so her soul was returned. Her service ended. But her body, no longer there, destroyed, someone else's hands, nonetheless not open for her to return to. She simply returned to what we believe may have been the place of her ascension, or perhaps an open vessel that was prepared specifically for this.
He takes a long moment.
Nara actually looks at Atreus. How are they responding to this information?
They are as stoic-faced as their father normally is, but there is perhaps a bit of concern at the long pauses. Our betrayal is greater than I thought. His words, heavy and spoken, linger on the table. Far heavier.
There was a saying we have come across recently. It is a bit confusing, but was informed to be important, both in role and in its, I guess, continuity. And it is saying that there must always be a traitor. Someone who, I guess, bucks with the stability to create action. I don't know if there's any forgiveness to be found in such words, but apparently it is aligned with these greater primordial powers that she tapped into.
If it was a deal that had to be made, only one way it could have happened. To bring about such power, the likes of which that you've spoken of, she must have gone to the well.
Oh, well?
Yes. In the east. Within the fallow lands, within my very court. There are presences of foreign strength. Foreign magic. If she went before the well, if she made her promise in blood, would explain much. He stumbles on his words.
Laza, have you heard of anything? You are, at least within the area, you are existing.
Well, there are many ancient places. I always thought that they were built by the Aunt Vanti, but maybe not. I always thought they looked elvish in design. And it is that point that the Barrel King will look up and will state, yes, elvish. I believe that to be the case. It is where we learned much of our first magic. He will then look forward. And does Marlowe know foreign elvish? Kalkateshi elvish?
No, he does not.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Sharkai, but I don't know if that is.
That's
I know
close.
Sharkai.
That's close to the dialect. Well, anyway, he will continue and say, it is a well built within the ruins, on top of which my kingdom was built. The visage of stars amongst them. It is a place that in a foreign tongue is called Yet Dikon. And those of you that speak Elvish know that that means something of fate.
This motherfucker just say eat dickin'?
He did. Yet Dikon.
Fortunately, I don't know the tongue. You, Laza?
Well, it's been a while since I have spoken of Kalkateshian Elvish, but I believe that's the Well of Fate.
Oh, that might be a bit dangerous for us to be around then. He'll look to Marlowe.
Or waves her hand at that comment.
Marla will not notice your glance and will continue in his self-righteousness.
Nonetheless, this is certainly something that needs to be investigated. But unfortunately, anything attached to fate might find a more violent reaction to our presence, unfortunately. Perhaps...
Out of character, sorry to interrupt you. Do we know that Bound and Broken is going to the...
yeah, they told us they were heading over that way. And that they wanted to court with them.
Okay, that was
I was
in
about
character.
to mention that.
Yeah.
Perfect, yeah.
That's gonna come up, probably!
Yeah.
If
you want to bring that up, go ahead right now.
Okay. My lord, we were in contact with another group of adventurers, much like ourselves, from the far west. They actually mentioned that they were heading to the east to explore a lot of the land and the ley lines and such, and old druidic nature. We were hoping perhaps that they can. We were hoping perhaps they could travel peaceably through your land, but perhaps you can tell them more about this. Well,
I have no problem with explorers, but I don't see how that is relevant.
I'm hoping there is a relevance to the path Matheria took in her history to resolving this problem. And perhaps there is a convergence there of uncovering the past as well as resolving the future.
Hold that thought, looks at camera. He said it. Title drop. Smiles. Anyway.
They, to speak of the travelers, they were stating that there was something wrong in your area. They worried that they might come into conflict with you, that it might be close to your domain. I don't wish to be presumptuous, but what exactly is the nature of the undeath that you hold? Might perhaps be something that they might be interested in.
It is what I meant when I said that my daughter betrayed us more than I thought. I had always thought that my hatred and pain of being betrayed is what has raised me from my deathful slumber, but I know now that is not the case. She made a deal, the Ecticon. Then it is what has bound us, and it would explain my awakening.
There is something else. We had met a great ancient creature of this land, though we had promised to keep his identity secret, and so I shall. But he mentioned that this was not the first time that you and your forces have risen. Do you have memory of other such risings?
No. Wait. You will see that he kind of looks down and kind of seems to be trying to remember something. Remember. Violet. Light.
It was the light that she had used.
Your squints.
I do not wish to stress you more than you can take. I understand that there is much happening and that your
Indeed. There is much to discuss with the living of the here and now. These people that you know of that go into my lands, send word to them and tell them to report to my court. I shall accept them. Perhaps even aid them. If you believe that their efforts are to help find the solution, then so be it.
Expect a druid named Fane from the east in Elf. And a strange bedfellows amongst them.
Fane. Very well. I shall remember the name, as he kind of gestures over his shoulder to the lady who will write down the name that he will remember.
He is most noticeable as he keeps a frog familiar with him. Some kind of prophet of the moist.
What?
As I said, it is most noticeable.
Okay. As to the other matters at hand, I have promised you aid as much as I can. I have decided to pause my hostilities. Vale City. And it is what providence it might be to see that such a decision has lended me able to assist you more directly. I believe that your cause to be greater of any war between state, of any man's hatred for another. At least for now. However, I can aid you in the sealing of these laboratories. Whatever I can do to cut out this cancerous growth upon my land, I shall do so.
Then I would make you aware of 2 locations within your reach, most likely. Directly within your lands, within a location known as the Bone Miner, we believe there is specifically a vault. We'd be very careful around such things, as we have opened one ourselves and found it occupied by a rather
Very well.
unfortunate keep.
I shall send my King's Guard. They shall bring it before me.
It is most likely far too large to be brought anywhere. Most likely have to secure it.
He'll smile. Let me worry about that. And enough.
And then farther to the south, I believe you might have had some reports from a meeting, but unfortunately the Silverstones has been taken by demons, we believe under the employ of Agamemnon. We attempted diplomacy, but got little, and decided that we had better off less risking our existence over demons and continuing our talks here.
Perhaps it is better to send my King's Guard there. I can send other Risen to explore a vault. But if there are active demons, it will require a more powerful touch.
I would like to also inquire about this sickness, and whether or not you and your forces have encountered any of it. These aberrants.
We've encountered much of it. Yes.
Have you found any way to deal with it? Is it any effect upon your men? Such reports will be important.
It would seem that the transformation does not take root within the Risen. We have done what we can to stem the flow from the bleeding wounds of the Pale City, of which these creatures seem to wander. The further they get from the city, however, the more lost they appear. Perhaps they require some sort of hive mind in order to stay focused. I have elected to request the aid of your former companion to investigate the situation, keep me apprised of it. Though we may not be actively marching, I wish to know the positions of all my enemies.
We've had little report from him, but he does seem to be active deep within the city.
Very well. I shall send word to Telri then. He said the thing!
Indeed.
Anyone else have questions?
Or scribbling on a note. I'm finishing up sending to the people in the east.
Nothing, no concern so far.
I mean,
Then I will bring forth one of the more difficult requests. It is our intentions to send one of our, I guess you could say, converted Metharians to go and assist in her retrieval and secure.
Gruul will suddenly notice the room get a little darker. Explain.
We were able to convince Carter. I'm sure you've seen him. Yes?
Yes, he is an honorable man for a Metharian.
We were able to give him a deeper understanding of the situation by using a shard of that power. The violet that you so speak of. He understands this deeply. I hope you can at least come to respect him in this moment. He does not have any intention of bringing her to some new glory. He wishes to know his goddess. His history, everything that he has done, he questions now. He understands.
You speak so sure of what the man will do, and yet I question. Even the most disciplined of individuals, when presented with an object of their desire, yet be unpredictable. What assurances do you have that this man will not simply act as her vessel, bring about the will, my daughter?
I don't think we have any assurance to that. But what I can say is that his faith is broken. Where we seek the truth to help use as a weapon against the thing that threats your home, he seeks the truth to repair and find solace within himself. I think that the people of Matheria's inheritance, the people of the church, have been lied to, have used that stolen divinity and lived lives of ignorance. And he is one of a very few amount of them who wishes to understand what happened. His concern with Matheria and everything is that of understanding, from what I understand.
If you truly wish to seek peace with the Metharians, I believe he will be the greatest tool to do so. And should he truly achieve contact with Matheria, learn of her truths, her history, her betrayal, then I think it is through that which you might achieve such a goal.
I am filled with emotion. I do not have as much faith as Carter that you. His faith may be broken, but that which is broken may yet be healed. Perhaps there are forces not yet understood. Perhaps she still possesses the first strength that she used to betray her family. There's too many unknowns. Besides, I have unfinished business with my daughter. Therefore, I would like to humbly request that once she is recovered, if she is recovered, that she is brought before me, that she may answer her father's questions. I will finally know the truth of our heart. These are my terms.
I can accept your terms, and I will act on their behalf. However, I might also ask, if you can spare someone that can also, if I fail, see to it that your terms are met. That might be wiser.
The word of the Carnelian Circle will be sufficient. Evelyn will also act as my agent here. Very well. I shall support this Captain Carter on his journey. And I shall send support to the places mentioned. If you have any more need of me, you need only ask. He will then look at his wrist as his crown begins to power down. I must return soon. I have been long away. You may give any other orders or requests through Evelyn, who can speak as of me. With that,
We will keep you well.
and with that, he will stand.
We'll stand and
it was
normal bow.
It was a pleasure to see you again, Carnelian Circle. You have come so far from seeking solace in the Sagas. Here we stand. I wonder what new heights you will reach for the end of this. He will give a salute, and he will walk away.
Good. That was the more difficult part completed.
That was well handled.
Or we'll begin.
I don't know what to do about the Barrow King. I was not
casting
there.
a spell.
Although this seems to be a bit more problematic. I had thought they had simply made a deal with the Fae or something to allow themselves resurrection without breaking their laws, but it seems it's even deeper than that. They seem
Well, that was
stuck.
for him to resurrect others,
Yeah.
but not for his resurrection.
Yeah.
You know, that's the whole thing of like what resurrected him.
Mm-hmm.
We have three answers, I guess, to our questions. Barrow King's on hold, willing to offer a lot. The dwarves are on hold. And the Barrow King is focused on the east. That leaves us with the free peoples of Saphira and God,
Carter.
that old man.
The East?
Oh, the
Truefire?
East, yes.
He's not in charge.
You mean the
it's
Western
elves.
Rebellion?
Yes, the Western Rebellion.
Western.
And Elrond Truefire?
I think it
Yeah.
might be beholden for us to speak to the Rebellion, as we have little contact with them. This might be imperative that we understand their positions well. Seeing as we will need them to help repair the ley lines once they are cleansed. Or
Right.
perhaps even to cleanse them themselves. All
Right.
agreed?
Very good.
Agree.
Laza, if you would.
He will nod and will summon forth William Wallace. No, Solace.
I also need to shit like a motherfucker, so I'll be back.
Nag.
I trust the Twilight Mouse to fucking
Do you?
spark joy.
Enjoy your bathroom time, Mr. Marlowe.
I've got a shit. Bye. He actually leaves.
Waddling away.
There was a question I never fully got to ask, but Does he have a shattered eye at all?
What a great question. If only you could see his eyes.
Man,
Okay,
to sue.
William Solace will take a seat at the table. Hi, I'm here. How can I help you?
Welcome.
We would like to speak for some time. We have very little contact with you and your people beyond Fane, to whom is not necessarily representative from my understanding.
Well, Fane's a good boy, but he's well, he's a good lad. Always looking for the crack.
Will you just
What does
speak
that
quietly?
mean? I'm sorry. I'm just looking for clarification. Looking for the crack? Excuse me?
He's looking for like an error, fault.
Yeah, that's what it means. Anyway, he kind of leans forward. That is not what it means.
Drugs. Drugs.
Crack,
Oh.
no. Crack in this regard means a good time.
So drugs.
Because Irish.
Huh.
He's away with the
Kind of.
families. Oh fuck, that's right. That would have been the right one.
A very regal and serious person, but
Anyway,
alright.
William Solace will kind of lean forward. So, how can I be of assistance to the Carnelian Circle?
Well, we have begun our conversations with Fane about spreading the new circle, one that we believe was denied to your people, as well as we also would wish to know the requests and wants of your people should you be upon this council.
What? Can you say that again?
We wish to know what you and your people would want, as well with the future or going forward with our attempting to cure the sickness, your own wants and needs, obviously.
Right. Look, I'm not going to act the maggot with you. I'm just going to be straight with you, all right? Here's what's going on. So, my people in the West have been subjugated by the Mytharians for, nay, on to 400 to 500 years now. All right? That's the Yonkers long time. We ain't going to deal with that anymore. First things first, you want our help. We need your assurances that you're not going to encroach on our territory. We don't have much in terms of military might, but we're willing to help as much as possible. Especially true for those of us in a more sagely way. Archdruid Leto has definitely already sent some of our best to aid, but I'm here officially to speak on behalf of him to ensure that we get the best deal in this regard. Now, as for your solutions, it is known that the circles need to be repaired, and only the people of the West can do that. The druids and those that know the old magics. And we fully intend to do our duty towards Corvinus to ensure that the ley lines remain healthy. But the only way that we're going to be able to do that is to ensure that the people that we send to go build them aren't strung up or set on fire as apostates. Now, I've spoken with the Captain Carter. He seems like a reasonable person, which is surprising because he's chosen to be Mytharian. I always found that whole thing to be very weird, but it's not really my position to judge, so I'm just going to be straightforward with it. We are willing to go forward to do our duty, to repair the circles, but we need to know that we're not going to be attacked for it, that we will be allowed to do so in peace. What assurances can you give of such a thing?
I think the assurances that you have at the moment are from the fact that the Mytharians are being eaten from the inside out. They're currently dealing with a plague, abominations. Their city is in ruins. I don't think, for the time being, you will be attacked. At least on the western half of the wastes. For your concern, as of afterwards, presuming that this is successful, we can't say how the Mytharian Church would even exist after then, what state it'll be in. Hopefully they will have no reason to kill you, because their problem would be solved.
Indeed.
we're currently in the efforts, I guess you could say, of spreading Carter's influence. The hope that he might be a person to help more de-radicalize his brethren. Give them a better understanding of your duties and their importance.
Well, as much as I'd like to believe that he'll be able to change their minds, it's a kind of a long shot, so a more practical solution might be required. So, I'll be forthright with it. We need weapons, armaments, and we need soldiers. People to guard our backs, and to enforce our borders, to ensure that not only the Mytharians, but the old brassy Baron doesn't decide to cross over and go into our sacred trees, cross our sacred mountains, take from them which is not theirs. Had that happen too many times, and we ain't gonna have it happen again.
We
Do
have got
you-
it. Go ahead.
Do you truly believe that strength of arms will help you in this regard?
Yes.
I do not know what your numbers look like.
Well, to be fair, we are able to forge arms, but from what little I understand, metal is problematic for your people?
No?
No? Oh, then
We're
it
not
should be.
all druids in the literal sense.
Oh. You write down something.
Alright, he will squint at the racism across the table. And will
That's not racism. It's about
culturism, whatever. Your fucking weird generalization of an entire Western civilization. He will then continue and say, regardless, we will need weapons, armors, and more importantly, we will need the manpower to hold them. Now, it is true that I could send forth and, well, scrap together as many boys as we can. The truth be told, there's just too much power on the other end.
Our intentions with our forges is to supply those who are working with us, those who are assisting with the repairs of the circles and the, well, laboratories being cleaned. If you are agreeing to our deals with assisting this, you shall be supplied with arms from our forges, if none other.
Say again? I'll lean forward.
We will supply you from our own forges once they are up and running. Would this be amenable?
Oh, maybe. Maybe. He'll then kind of lean forward. I've come to the understanding that you've already made a deal with Lander, yes?
Yes.
Well,
He is a unique individual.
aye, a unique individual he is, but, he'll kind of...
We have lucrative trade relations with him.
He'll kind of scrape some of the dirt off of his sleeve. Be that as it may, whilst we find such a lucrative outpoint for yourself to be acceptable, there are a few things that we would like to add. Most notably, there are many of our people that are in hiding outside of the Western lands. They walk amongst you. Druids, pagans, whatever you want to call them, apostates. Not just here, but within Mornhal, as well as in the walls, the ice flows, and of course the Three Kings. We would also like to see support for our missing brethren to be returned home, and then, perhaps even placed, into these circles of power that will no doubt need to be maintained and upheld to ensure the good health of Corvinus.
Have you had discussions with the Brass Baron? I think that would be a good convergence, looks like camera, between your interests as well as his.
Indeed. I will admit that I have tried to speak with him. His approach has always been to the concourse of tariffs. I find it a bit ridiculous that one could provide support and be paid for it twice. Therefore, I am divulging to you that perhaps, because of our geographical closeness, that you might be able to make an alternate deal. Therefore, I have prepared this proposal. He will hand it to you guys.
Oh,
There are a few individuals that we know of in the town of Gwen's Gambit, the largest in the Raver Cliffs. Now, while that is more often than not supplied and ruled by the Practitioners Guild, it is as you said. The Betharians are in disarray, and the Practitioners Guild has always been half the foot out the door when it comes to the religious aspects of their church affiliations. We were hoping that perhaps you might, on our behest, go forth to them as a neutral entity, speak to them about perhaps joining your cause, as their scientists, no doubt, will help with the solution, in exchange for perhaps the ability to use their southern river, connect it through the Twisting Pines to you, and therefore a route of escape for our people trapped in the east. Or, if that isn't amenable, that you may take the men here. You've already taken in the refugees from foreign lands. Surely the elves of those that wish to simply practice their religion would be allowed.
I like both these plans. Looks to the rest of the group.
There is an additional part that might be added, but it must be kept secret, as other parties would certainly be more invested in such a thing. I believe it would be in all of our best interest if it was kept between us. We are in possession of a thing known as a Faygate, and we believe you and your people are also in possession of one of these. Are you aware of it?
I have some passing knowledge of it, yes, but I was under the impression that they could not be fueled.
This is incorrect. We have found our way to make ours functional, and should be able to supply you with the ability, or at least knowledge, to do so as well. If that is unsubstantial, you may at least be able to study ours, to see how it functions. And in doing so, create a connection between our two locations, and then any person who comes upon this city will then be able to travel to yours, creating a safe passage between the Barrow King's lands, our lands, Brass Barons, who knows how many more.
Does the Brass Baron know of the existence of this portal?
No, he does not. Again,
You'll
the
see.
secret.
You'll see William Solace will smile.
I was afraid that bringing this up unprompted would cause more chaos than would be needed. However, personally, I've not deliberately tried to keep this a secret. It is just information that would get in the way. But I wrestle with this. Ideally,
Go ahead.
Matters of your land, this kind of information would be open. But for the time being, we have kept it to ourselves.
This is a land where information is supposed to flow freely. It is controversial, so to speak, to keep secrets.
Mr. Ninanoth, although we are to speak freely, do you believe we are alone in this room?
As alone as can be expected by our mage here, Laza is capable of doing so, yes.
I'll glance over at Laza.
Say again?
I'll glance over at Laza for confirmation. Are we alone in this room?
Yeah, private.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Stop reading chat. Okay, continue.
You in chat? Get out of. What are you doing in chat? Yeah.
Could throw in information, right?
Shush. All right.
Wait, we're live? What?
Never mind. Move on.
All right. But yes, would such an arrangement also be agreeable?
I will need time to discuss with the Archdruid. I request respectfully that you maintain the secrecy of the portals to others until I have had an appropriate amount of time to discuss. Does that sound acceptable?
It shall not be informed to anyone else. That is fine.
Thank you. You've given me much to think on. I will contact you shortly. With
He'll
that, he will stand, and he will give a salute. And off I go then. Bow.
Well, in truth, these are going better than expected. Albeit the Brass Baron was a bit too open-handed. Let's see. I guess it's just the traders next, yes? And then we shall get to Carter last. The merchants, yes?
Here?
Yes.
Alright. Laza, if you would.
Unfortunately, we are
At time.
at time. So
Yeah.
Nah, we were late. Oh well.
There's
My
enough, I
brain
think.
is-
Yeah, no. We got...
My brain is melting.
Ooh, well that went
Information.
pretty well. I think we're doing our job.
Getting things set up, that's for sure.
I have a spider web of notes of what we
Oh.
might do and what we will do.
Oh, goodness.
I have done a sending to Caspian so that they know about the Barrow King. So that's in the notes and on record and everything. Mm-hmm.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, sorry about being late, everyone. Just people just having issues, being in Mexico,
happens.
all that kind of stuff.
what a good session. That was still a great session.
Yeah.
I very much
Oh,
enjoyed
yeah.
it.
Pretty good.
Man, talking to the Barrow King. Ah, so much lore there.
Did this man just say eat dickin'?
He is pretty cool.
I really like how much people like and hate the Brass Baron at the same time.
I
I'll
hate
do-
him.
I'll
I hate
do
him
all
so
these things for
much.
you. Yeah, but you're gonna
I
get something
think
out of it. Yes.
I think he's great. I think he's fantastic.
There's
Yes,
been multiple times where I'm like, I should just in character say, like, I would rather put a tarantula in my asshole than fucking engage with your political intrigue.
The opposite. I'm over here putting on a brass hat. Make Corvanus great again.
His response is, "Well, bend over. Here it comes." Oh shit!
Perhaps we should, change forces south of the river. I'm like, you're 12. What are you doing?
I'm lubing him up for you. It's okay.
Why,
Just-
you're
just let it happen.
12 and you're holding a candle. Like, stop.
Just let it happen.
Fucking
He's holding a candle.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know why that bothers you so much, but it's so funny.
Why does my candle bother you?
Just over
Squeaks
here,
it closer to
over
you.
here holding the candle. Stop holding that candle. Stop it.
I light the candle of Atenia. I'm like, why are
Yeah.
you doing this? We're
I haven't
in
lit
a
it.
lunch meeting.
I haven't lit it. It's been lit the whole
It's
time.
always lit. Yeah, it's always
It's lit while it's sitting in my pocket.
It is the candle.
I pull out my everlit candle. Like, I'm just gonna kill this.
It adds
Blow it out
to our
more, we'll blow
noble,
it out.
it adds to our noble mystique. It's fine.
I pull out my Dua Lipa candle.
He's just jealous because he doesn't have a Dua Lipa candle of his own.
Oh, I gotta do a leap.
I want a Dua Lipa candle. It's my Dua Lipa candle.
Good game, guys.
Thank you.
Just spell magic your Dua Lipa candle.
All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for supporting the channel. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.